All right, trying to stay consistent with these videos. My biggest thing is that I really don't like filming unless I have like a full series, or I'm like, okay, this is a job that I'm gonna do and I can film it from beginning to end. But talking to my boy Guru, talking to some other people, they're like, man, just whatever you do in that day, whether it be a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, just film it and throw it out there. So this is my first time just throwing something out there. Not really throwing something out there, but just showing you guys what I'm doing today. It's Friday. I'm getting ready to go to New Orleans tomorrow I'm leaving early. Yeah, leaving early in the morning tomorrow for B-Bodies on the Bayou. I'll try to get this video up tonight. We'll see. But I'm here at the shop just finishing up some last minute things. So we're working on this car here today. This is a 96 that I LS swapped. It's got a 5.3 with a big cam in it. It's got a 4L60 torque converter. It's got a 25 or 2600 stall. LS2 Dorman intake, LS simple brackets. We retained the stock AC compressor and line, so I'm going to charge the AC on this today. I just got to put the finish putting the cold air intake on it. I just had to change the oil filter because for whatever reason it was leaking out the back of the oil filter, so I think something was wrong with that one. I put a brand new one in there. It stopped leaking. Top the transmission fluid off, and then I'm going to, this car is actually getting a Dakota digital, so I'm getting ready to do that now. What else we got going on? So we got this motor and transmission. If you remember my white Denali that I had, I sold that to a very good friend of mine, Justin. I just got tired of working on it. Not even tired of working on it. Like I mentioned in other videos, me and Chevy truck AC they don't vibe. I don't know what it is. It's like anytime I buy a new Chevy truck, not new, but another Chevy truck, it's always got two problems: AC and transmission. And those things, usually the transmission I can get fixed. Randy does it, no problem. But the AC. And on this Denali, I love that truck. I put a transmission in it probably about a year ago. Randy built it. It was he built a really nice 4L65 for it. And I mean, if you follow my Instagram or see my other videos, I towed all over America with that thing. Towed to Texas, with a trailer and a Suburban on it. I towed everywhere in that truck with that motor and that transmission combo. But AC went out several times, changed the line, changed the compressor, changed all kinds of stuff, and it just kept going out. And I just got so frustrated. I was driving back from Texas from dropping the car off, and I was with my wife at the time. We were driving back. AC went out, and then the actuator on the passenger side broke, and it just went to straight heat. So I called my boy, like, hey, you still want this thing? Sold it to him. So long story short, he got it, drove it for a few months, and then he was having a problem with the fuel system. The gas gauge never worked in it. I didn't care. I just kept gas in it. But ever since he changed the fuel pump, he's just been having issues where it'll start when it wants. He got fed up with it. And so here's the here's the drivetrain out of it. So Torian actually bought the 6-liter. So this will be going in his Impala. So that swap will be coming soon. And I'm keeping my old transmission. So this is the 4L65 that Randy built for me a little over a year ago that was in that Denali. So when I do the swap on the 2-door, I'm going to take the engine out of the white Suburban and mate it with this transmission and put it in the white 2-door Tahoe. The transmission in the Suburban, I think it's okay, but I know this one is good. So that's the plan. So we got this pulled out. Me and Harry pulled this out day before yesterday. So it's just sitting here. Per my last video, this is the 96 getting the crate motor. So we got the old motor out. This is the crate motor here. So waiting on Randy to finish with the transmission. We'll start transferring stuff over from the old motor onto the new one, get the transmission, get all that stuff buttoned up. This thing, all I got to do, I got everything. I just got to mount the intake and fire it up. So if I get done with this in time, I'll bolt the intake on here and get this thing fired up. So we will see. I'm waiting on a part for it. Something really simple. I'll show you. So I always use current performance for my harnesses. So if you notice, I'll show you here on this harness. It has a 2-prong. Oh, I thought this was the 3-prong one. So this is the coolant temp sensor. They use a 2-prong coolant temp sensor, which I don't know why they do that, because initially when I started ordering harnesses, like my car, a couple other cars that I did, it had the 3-prong coolant temp sensor, which is out of the F body. And what that does, it has one wire that feeds your gauge, and then the 2 wires going to the PCM, all from one sensor. I don't know what they changed at current performance, but then they started sending me one where it's the 2-prong for that goes into the passenger side of the head like the LS would, and then they added a single one that would normally, is that it? Yeah, there it is. Which on the LTs, you know, the LT has a separate one. So then they added this one, which is just a single wire coolant temp. And then this one would normally plug into the head over there. However, it's been very difficult to find an adapter because the switch for the LTs is a lot bigger than the hole. So you have to get an adapter and all that. So for this car, I really didn't care because I knew he was getting a Dakota Digital. So we're gonna run the Dakota Digital CAN bus module on this. So it's gonna get all the temp information from the computer. So I wasn't too concerned about this car. But this one is not running a Dakota Digital, so we are going to have to rely on the dash temp sensor. So I ordered the pigtail with the three wire hookup, and I'm just going to rerun the wire into it, and then that way it'll be how it's supposed to be. And I let them know, like, hey, moving forward, any other harnesses you do, you know, make sure it has that 3-wire hookup. I actually have 3 harnesses sitting in the office, and if all of those have it on there, I'm gonna send them back and have them fix that, because the 3-wire hookup is just way better. So that's it for I mean, that's what I'm working on. So like I said, I want to just put something out there. I'm gonna start on this Dakota Digital now, because this car, I actually finished this swap over 2.5 months ago. It was sitting at the tuner. I have a tuner that I normally use. He got super busy and backed up, and I mean, I had gave him like 4 cars at once. So this one sat for a while, customers getting upset. So I went over there, stayed there till like midnight one night, getting everything sorted out so we can get it tuned. So it fires up, it runs and everything. It just had that really bad oil leak that I just fixed. So once I get the Dakota Digital in there, then we can get all the readings on the temp, make sure the oil pressure is good, all that stuff is good. And then we're gonna, I'm gonna log it, and then we'll get the tune dialed in. We'll get the AC charged and kind of go from there. So I'll pick it back up once I get going with the Dakota Digital and go from there. So hopefully you guys like this format. You know, I try not to do too many how-to videos. You know, well, actually, no, I try to do more how-to videos because I feel like that's what my channel is about. Like, people who own these cars, and, you know, there's simple stuff that you can do at home without having to pay a shop, you know, and I show you how to do it. Or if there's a mod you were thinking about doing and you're like, well, I don't know what the process is to do that or what's entailed. That's the type of stuff I like to show. But you know, I'm just trying to get the channel a little bit more popular and gain some more subscribers and ultimately make more money off of YouTube, because I've made some money, but not much. So it'd be great to have that as some extra income and stuff like that. So if you guys want to support the channel, I'll start putting my stuff in there. I'll offer like member services. I think there's a thing where you can sign up to be a member, and I'll start releasing videos, more how-to videos, but more like in depth, like exactly how you do stuff with part numbers, links, everything. Because I hate when people hit me up and be like, hey, send me the parts list for this. Like, no, bro, like, now I got to take time out of my day, sit on my computer, copy it. No. So if you guys sign up to be a member of the channel, you know, then I'll do that. I'll make videos like, you know, LS swap stuff, how to fit 24s on your Impala stuff, you know, the part numbers for your coilovers and which ones to use and why. Do you need double adjustable, single adjustable? What spring rate do you want? 250, 550, 750? You know, I'll explain all that in those videos and stuff like that. So that's something else I'm thinking about doing. So let me hop on this thing because I just want to get a little bit of work done today, get this to a point where I can get it back to the tuner, get him to get it dialed in before I take my trip. And if I have time, I want to put my new speakers in my Sierra, because I'm taking the Sierra to, I'm driving that to Louisiana. So, I mean, it sounds fine now, but I got some new Fosgate component set that I want to put in there. So if I have time, I'll toss that in there too. I'll show you guys that. Why not? All right, so getting this thing going. It looks crazy right now. Now, this wasn't me. This was this alarm system he had. So this is what I used to do. The first couple ones I did, I like cut these connectors off, but what I started doing was just tapping into them. They're not plugged up to anything anyway. These go into the back of the cluster. So I kind of just run the wires, label them for what they are. I hook everything up to the brain. So this is just to test it. So because we're using this thing, where'd it go? because I'm using this thing. This is the part number. What this does is it grabs all of the data for the speedometer, the tach, the temperature, the trans temp, all that stuff through the OBD2 through your computer. So this will only work on a 96 and up, or it will work on a 94 and 95 if it's LS swapped. Basically if it's an OBD2 car. So this is a 96 and it's LS swap, so it's going to give us a ton of information. So I kind of just hooked everything up loosely. I'm going to shorten these wires, I'm going to mount the boxes and stuff, but before I do any of that, I like to plug everything in, make sure it turns on. I go through the settings, start the car, make sure everything works. And that's why I like to do this after I get the car tuned and make sure it runs and everything like that, because it's a lot of work to install these and mount them and make them neat, and I don't want to have to take it apart once I'm done. So as soon as I find the key, haven't turned it on yet. You guys are seeing it for the first time like me, and it did not turn on. Oh, I know why. We didn't plug in the display cable. Hold on. See? Something stupid. You know what? So we don't die from fumes. Let me open the door. The light was kind of making a little glare, so let's get the glare in here. There's the Sierra. All right, so let's try this again. I forgot to plug in the cluster to the brain. May need to do that from time to time. Bet you it worked now. Ooh. Ooh. Alright, so we got good oil pressure. I know there's no gas in this car, but I didn't run the ground for that. Tach's probably not gonna work yet. Okay, so something's loose. Constant. Okay, so I gotta fix that. That's not a big deal. That's an easy fix. Voltage looks good. So now we got to go through the settings. I just want to make sure we had oil pressure. That was the biggest thing. So how you do the settings. So you saw how nothing's working, right? RPMs aren't working. The only thing that's working is the oil pressure and the voltage. Temp probably isn't going to work. Speedometer's not going to work. Fuel's not going to work. So you got to go in and set all this stuff up. So let me do that. The only thing that won't be accurate will be the fuel, because I have to run a ground from the fuel box, from the computer, from the brain of the digital cluster to the ground at the fuel pump, and then it'll be accurate. But everything else will work here in a second. Be right back. All right, so I've went through all the settings and everything. Yeah, I went through everything. Got everything set up, so now you'll see what we got. So now we got fuel, we got tach, we got voltage, and temp is working. So that's good. And now we can go through the settings here. Trans temp. Okay, so we're not getting trans temp information for some reason. I know on my car I did. I don't know why on this one it's not working. Could be the way the transmission was built or something like that, but I'm not seeing it. So we got intake air temp, engine hours, digital tach. That's the highest we've revved it. So got the time. So got pretty much everything set up. See the temperature's going up there. So that's working. So oh, I gotta set up the lights, the dimmer. I gotta figure out which one that is. If I remember correctly, it's the gray one, but I gotta see. I don't remember. I've done so many of these, but it kind of perplexes me sometimes. But I think it's the gray wire, so I'm gonna test it and see if that works. And go from there and see if it'll turn on with the lights, because it's not hooked up. All right, we good to go. So we got it all hooked up and finished. Uh-oh. Actually, let me check, see what that check engine light is on for, because have not checked this yet. So got it all hooked up, it's all done. Came out pretty good, as you can see. Got the intake tube on there, got everything zip tied and out the way. So let me grab the scan tool and we'll check and see what that code is, because it still needs to be tuned a little bit more. It was leaking oil really bad, like I said, so we couldn't run it too long. So let's see what the code is for, and then something's still leaking. Gotta see what that is. Figured out what the problem was. It was probably every transmission code that you could possibly get was there, and it was the big round plug wasn't seated all the way. So got that situated. So I'm gonna take it for a drive, see how it does. I still got a leak coming from behind the oil filter, so I guess the problem was not the oil filter. I'm guessing there may be something with the oil pan or the filter housing, but we'll see. But let's take it for a rip. Let's see if Temp comes up now, because I know Temp didn't come up the first time. So let's see. No, it still didn't come up, but that could be something else. Oh, already feels better. I don't have my trailer and nobody here to help me if I break down, but I think we'll just go around the building and see what it does. It does nothing. Doesn't have any power. What's up with that? Reverse feels good. I think this transmission's no good. Yeah, I think this transmission is shot. Something in the valve body or something's no good, because it goes in reverse great. And it feels pretty normal. Oh, it cut off. But in drive, it's got nothing. Let me play with a little, check the fluid and stuff like that and see what happens. All right, well, I'm in the truck. Today was gonna be a short day. It's about 5 o'clock. I just wanted to come in and for sure get that done. That was the main thing I wanted to do today, was get that Dakota digital in. I drove the car back and forth, checked the fluid, still wasn't moving like it should. So talked to the tuner. He said, he did what he did in the computer for the transmission, so it shouldn't, everything should be right in there. I hooked up my HP tuners, checked some stuff. Everything looks good on the tuning side of it and on the computer side of it. But I think there's a problem with the valve body, because it's not giving me a transmission temp. So it's either something with that or something with the harness. So I have a car on my lift now. It'll be off my lift Monday or Tuesday. I'll put that car on the lift and see what's going on. Try to figure out why the oil filter is still leaking, and kind of go from there. So I'm headed home now. I'm gonna start packing, loading the truck up for the trip, and I'll actually film, as I go and everything. So look out for the next video. That'll be our trip to New Orleans. So hopefully y'all like this little, different thing I did, just kind of filming what I do day to day. Today was a little different because I didn't have much to do, so we are headed home. So I'll see y'all in the next one.